Hey everyone, welcome to today's The Steady Trader YouTube Live. We talked about it earlier this weekend, coming into this week, that this is going to be a major week for earnings for the first quarter of 2018, and of course, that's exactly what's happening. So over the past 24 hours or so, we've had a lot of very big names report earnings, Facebook being one of them. And Facebook, of course, is a stock that not only is important through the lens of their makeup of the indices, but also, of course, it is an important name because a lot of people follow it, and so it's popular, and it can have chain effects of what that stock does, versus other stocks as well. So what's happening here is that at this point in time, Facebook reported earnings last night, and what I want to go through is a couple things in the chart so you guys can see what's happening. And I actually think Facebook is going to run into resistance. Okay, that's not a long-term call to say Facebook is doom and gloom. It's just a trade. And I think through the lens of education, this is very interesting. Keep in mind also that Facebook, of course, has had this data privacy issues. So more commentary around there, or at least comments by analysts at this point, could certainly move the stock. But let's have a look at the charts here. And it's a very straightforward analysis, but it's a very good analysis. So first of all, this is what Facebook looks like in after-hours trading. You can see the stock closed trading for the day on the 25th of April around here, which is around 100 and let's call it $60. It then gapped higher, and it's now trading around $170 after earnings. So this is what the stock looks like right now this morning and after in pre-market trading, and also where it traded after hours. So that's where it is, 170 bucks. If we now take a quick step back and look at the big picture chart, let me get the camera right, you can see that as a result of the recent turmoil in the stock, and turmoil here is maybe potentially a strong word, technically speaking, but as a result, the stock has managed to pull back to its longer term sort of lower end of the range. That's here, okay? So that was around the lows there in March was around 150 bucks or so. So that's where the stock pulled back to, and you can see historically that's been a good spot to buy the stock. The difference between now and previous points along this line is that now the stock had a very big, I'm going to call this an intermediate term topping pattern take place. And so I want you to think about this through the lens of investor psychology. I always talk about this to clients and subscribers, that I think that is the most important thing to do. So if you look at this a little bit more closely, you can see that Facebook has had plenty of times where it had resistance and support in this blue band, which spans from around, and again, these are rough numbers, around 170 to about 172, maybe even $173. That's the range where the stock has had resistance and then support. When it broke through that, it found resistance at the lower end of that range just a couple of weeks ago. In fact, I think just last week actually. And we're now looking to see what the stock's going to do after earnings. So the stock right now after earnings looks to open around the lower end of this range, around 170 bucks. And I think ultimately people who bought the stock up in here, okay, all the people who bought the stock anywhere up here, they're now basically trapped. And they're looking for any rally in the stock to get back out of it, at least from a trading perspective, not the long-term investment. That's a different situation. So therefore, I think any rally here after earnings, maybe towards 170 up to 173, there's a lot of technical resistance and also psychological resistance, okay? So former supports could now again become resistance. So I think up here around 172 to 173, maybe give or take a couple dollars in the upside, this stock's going to run out of steam again, and we could see more sort of backing and filling to the downside. So how you express that view is really up to you. Maybe you own the stock and you want to take some profits from a swing trading perspective. Maybe you want to be more aggressive and even outright short the stock, maybe buy some puts or put spreads. Those are all things that are up to you, but I wanted to go through and show you guys some very basic technical analysis that really, coincides nicely with the psychological analysis. So I hope that makes sense. The psychological part is a huge part of how the markets work, technically speaking. So if you guys enjoy this, please give us a thumbs up, share the video, share what we're doing here in the channel, and I'll see you guys soon. Also, anyone that's in the New York City area, I'm going to be in New York later this week. And we're going to hold a meetup. It's free. You can come and join. First Drinks on Me at the W New York. I'm going to put the link down below in the video. Come join us for fellow study traders. Meet me. We'll talk markets and just meet and mingle. W New York on Monday, the April in TradeWise.